Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. I've recently seen a trend among Christians and also Christian channels, and I'm not just talking about David Wood, but even others, where they are going against Islam and speaking negative about Islam instead of solving their own problems, right? And today we're going to have a look at some news that should disturb Christians, and the news are that the Church of England is fine with churches being turned into nightclubs, but they're actually against and terrified by them being turned into mosques. Let's have a look.
Imagine a church abandoned for decades, gathering dust over the years.
Yes.
No problem at all. But when Muslims wanted to turn it into a mosque, suddenly everything changed.
Yeah, people get
The
upset.
Church of England, which had no issue selling its churches for nightclubs and cinemas,
A'udhu billah.
steps in to stop it. Why? What is the church really afraid of? First, take a look at this clip.
Aloha Cinema. So folks, here's another one of these church buildings, Church of Scotland
At
buildings.
least it's a cinema.
This one has been changed into a cinema, as you can see.
I'm sorry that I'm laughing, but imagine going to watch like some sort of Minions movie or some cartoon with your kids in an old church. I'm sorry, it's disturbing and weird. Like, imagine going to the cinema in an old church. Like, you will think about like, wait, what? Where are we going? What sort of movie is going to be played there? Like vampire movies, horror movies? Like, I'm sorry, this is a weird scene to watch, right? Like, imagine entering this to watch a movie. At least this did not turn into a nightclub, okay? Like, it could have been worse, right? It could have been like a nightclub or brothel or something, right? Like, at least it's a cinema. Like, it could have been worse, but still, it is a very weird sight, right? Like, I'm not used to this.
Cinema, as you can see.
So here's the real story.
Subhanallah.
Just recently, an Islamic charity called the Zamir Foundation got special permission to turn an old, deserted church into a mosque.
Hey, it's at least still
Sounds
a
like
place
a good
of
idea,
worship.
right? But hold on. Out of nowhere, the Church of England decides to step in and say, nope, not for Muslims.
Wow.
The same building that's been gathering dust for decades suddenly isn't allowed to be used for worship.
Let me guess,
Why
it
the
became
double
a
standard?
nightclub.
It seems like the higher-ups in the Church of England are feeling a little nervous about the rise of Islam in the UK. They're spreading this fear to their followers in the name of loyalty to the church and the prestigious kingdom. But is this really about protecting the religion? Or are they just uncomfortable with the growing popularity of Islam?
This town used to have a church. The central church is the one in front, and now this is going to be replaced by, if you believe it or not, a mosque. That's going to be interesting, converting this type of architecture in a mosque. Right.
What's funny is this isn't the
Let me clarify something here. Islam doesn't have an architecture. Islam is a faith that came for all mankind. If you check out some places of worship in Asia, be it in Indonesia, Malaysia, you sometimes will see buildings that look way different from mosques you will find maybe in Morocco, let's say, right? So a masjid in Morocco will not look like a masjid in, for example, Indonesia. But a masjid in, for example, Bosnia will not look like a masjid, for example, in Germany. Like, what I'm saying is that mosques, there isn't, like, Islam does have, like, in the Sunnah, oh, you have to have this sort of color, this sort of windows, this and that. No, like, the architecture can vary from mosque to mosque. You have blue mosques, you have brown mosques, you have those with smaller, those with bigger windows. Some are like a cube sort of shape, some have like a tower, right? Like, there isn't like a fixed form for a mosque, right? Like, it can have all sorts of looks and designs.
Of architecture in a mosque. Right.
What's funny is this isn't the first time they've sold their churches.
Yeah. Because
Lots
Christianity
of
is on
abandoned
decline.
churches have been turned into community centers, businesses, even places with saunas, swimming pools, and cinemas. Oh, and let's not forget the churches that are now nightclubs.
That's even
Apparently,
worse.
that's totally fine. But a mosque? Well, that's where they draw the line. Do you know what's even more surprising? St.
Wow,
Andrews
look at this.
in Bournemouth,
How
and another
that-
one in Salisbury's Chapel have been converted into nightclubs. So obviously, it is not a matter of concern for the
Place for
Church of
Sinner.
England if their once sacred space is utilized in a more ethical way or not. Here's something worth noting. St. John's in Hanley hasn't seen a single worshiper since the 1980s.
Wow,
This place has been
subhanallah.
sitting in the middle of town, collecting dust. But now, with this Islamic foundation stepping in, the vision is much bigger than just a mosque. Imagine
let's bring religion
a
back.
women-only gym, a multi-faith library,
Yeah.
and even a museum, all under one roof.
Yeah.
This isn't just a place for Muslims.
And this is the problem. Like, I have to, like, I will explain you guys something. And this is why I said at the beginning of this video, I'm a bit upset and bothered by so many Christians going against Islam and people like David Wood, Christian Prince, that doesn't act Christian at all in behavior. And like so many other so-called famous Christian representatives, they're actually making Christianity even look bad. Let me tell you why. So, if you are a devout Christian, right? Like what the world really needs these days is more religion, right? And not emotion, okay? A religion should not be a religion of emotion. A religion should be a religion of devotion, okay? A religion needs devotion, not emotion. Emotions change all the time, right? So let's say today you wake up, you have a happy day, you feel great, you give charity, you feel wonderful, you want to go to church. Then the next day you are depressed or you have a bad day. You know, if your faith depends on your emotion and it's just driven by emotions, then one day you're a believer, one day you're a disbeliever. Like you can't base our faith on emotion because emotions are unstable. You just get out with the wrong foot one day, then you are like a disbeliever, right? One day you're happy, you're a believer. It shouldn't be like that, right? Now, the thing is about Christianity and why churches are not being visited and closing. So let me tell you guys something. So before I became a Muslim out of conviction, of course, because of the logic behind Islam, the true monotheism, no trinity, no nothing, how Adam alayhi salam and Eve, for example, were created in miraculous ways, but they are not called the children of God, but Jesus is the, peace be upon him, is the son of God. Like there was like a lot of confusion from a teaching way and from a logical perspective, so I was drawn closer to Islam because it made more sense. But besides that, there was a second point that got me into Islam that I will talk about right now. So I saw that the preachers at the churches were preaching something that they were not doing in their daily life, right? And there were so many scandals within the churches of some pastors, preachers saying, oh, you should wait until marriage to sleep with someone and this and that, right? But they were like out there having affairs with people, this and that. I actually visited a very religious woman in a church I was preaching, and she was consuming drugs and stuff. I found out later on and stuff. Like I see like there's a lot being preached but not being practiced by Christians. And now when I look at like some Christian channels, they are super sinful, and yet they're saying, oh, Christianity is the truth and stuff. So what I see and what I've experienced with the decline of Christianity and closing of churches, this happened when the more orthodox way of Christianity went on a decline. When Christianity wasn't any more hardcore practice like back in the days, where you actually did not have any more nuns really, and very few people became nuns. There were fewer monks, right? Like Christianity, the more orthodox form was on a big decline, and the more liberal form of Christianity was being practiced. Same with like the local churches nearby, where you have like pastors preach something, but then they go out to smoke, drink, and sleep around. Some people get into substance abuse, and the youth, they're actually not being encouraged to actually worship or learn about the teachings of Christianity. What Christianity is like, especially here in Germany, like modern Christianity, I still remember this. It's about fun activities, singing songs, having like your gatherings where it's just about emotions and your sins are now forgiven, this and that. But there isn't really being much taught about Christianity in like a deeper sense, right? It's all about singing, going camping, riding riding bicycle, this and that. It's all about playing around and literally more emotion than devotion. And this is why Christianity, in my opinion, is on a decline, because there's no more the strict way of Christianity being taught, but everything is being taken liberal and simple. And then people, they have no difference between going to a youth club to play there with their friends or playing in church. They have now two options, but one option, the youth club, is closer to their apartment than the church. So they will instead go as teenagers to the youth club or to their school to hang out with friends than at church, because there's no difference anymore. It has all become a place for fun everywhere and emotion. And this is the problem. This is why I see that churches are being closed down, because first of all, parents that are Christian are no longer role models. The pastors are no more, the priests there are no more role models, because they are sinning in public a lot, right? So many scandals. Then the activities and what's being taught at church, this resembles youth clubs and regular high schools. It's no more about really, like, deeper understanding of Christianity. So this is the truth why churches are closing. And that the Christians are getting upset because people go there now to pray to Allah, that is still God. Like, this makes no sense. They should actually, like, I think, like, I'm gonna be honest here and direct, and this is my nasiha to Christian Prince and David Wood. Close your channel and open a new channel, or rebrand your channel into teaching Christianity channels. You should become an education for Christianity channels. You should do Christian dawah, and you should not call against Islam. Because if for example, let's say there's a patient and the patient is very, very sick. Yeah, and the patient goes to a doctor, and the doctor says, hey, I have a solution. There's a way of therapy you can do. If you take this sort of medicine for about 1 year, it can cure your disease, right? But if you as a patient, you don't take this medicine, right? And you instead look for fights with people, you're not going to cure yourself, because you are still going to be sick if you don't take the medicine, right? And the medicine that Christianity needs to survive is the authentic version of Christianity, the true teachings. And listen, this is not my job, okay? Because I'm a Muslim, I believe that Islam is the truth. But for those that believe Christianity is the truth, they should teach the real Christianity to people and not fight against Islam. Because if you're that sick patient, you need your medicine. You don't need to pick a fight. Because if your body is sick and you're having a disease within yourself, in this state, you can't even fight against anyone because you're a sicko. I've seen what some of those Islamophobic channels do, a certain individual, how he like harassed in public a woman and made sexual statements to her and stuff. And he was recorded doing that, and then he was actually being cancelled by a lot of people. And if people do this and they say Christianity is the truth, but they only fight against Islam instead of educating people on Christianity, the Christians are becoming less and less. You're even turning some of your viewers into atheists by your behavior. Or you have actually many atheists watching you that don't want to convert to Christianity but just hate on Islam. So people have to be very, very careful here. Like, Christians need to fix Christianity and not look for fights with Muslims, because this is not going to solve their disease that they are having right now, right? Like, look at the younger generation. Like, look at the depression rate. Like, mental health has become a big problem these days. Those are facts. Mental health is a big issue. People are not happy anymore. I have actually seen stories, and this is actually sad, of 16-year-olds having prescriptions for so-called happy pills. What are happy pills? Those are pills people take if they have depressions to feel better. Why would a 16-year-old Christian boy need pills like that? Where's the pastor? Where's the priest? Why are they not helping this boy with religion? Why does this one need to swallow pills against depression? What about, I've seen this, I've spoken about this. What about like 13, 14-year-old girls at the bus stop here in Germany, even crying because they committed zina and lost their virginity and stuff like that? Like, there are girls with depression because they became some sort of victim for something, but they were also responsible because they shouldn't even have gotten in a relationship that young in the first place. But there are women crying because they have depressions, because they've committed zina and they now regret, and they were only 13, 14 years old. Where were the priests and pastors and the parents to teach this girl to not do such a thing? What about all the young mothers, 15, 16, that are Christian, that are being left by the guy? Like, what about people that are now addicted to substances? Where are the Christians protecting them here? Like, this is the thing. You shouldn't go against Islam. You need to clean your house first and fix your problems before you go at others. And until you have solved your own problems, my nasiya, my suggestion for you is fix your own problems before you go at others. When you have fixed your problems, then we can debate on who is right and who is correct. So fix your religion first and then come at us with debates.
It's a hub for the entire community, welcoming people of all backgrounds. So where's the problem? The foundation followed every rule, got permission from the council, and was ready to bring this space back to life. But it seems like some people just can't handle the idea of a mosque at the heart of their town.
The plans included not only a mosque, but also a museum, a multi-faith library, and even a women's-only gym. The charity framed this as a way to enhance community services and promote inclusivity.
The Church of England holds authority on numerous civil matters of English society in general. It is led by archbishops of Canterbury and York, along with 106 bishops throughout the kingdom. They not only provide unified guidance in religious matters, but also make sure the affairs of the state are run in peace and harmony. Their decisions and actions manifest tolerance and include everyone in the society. But this decision to change the conversion of a church into a mosque seems biased and narrow-minded. Let's be real. Hanley must be a mostly white Christian neighborhood, but times are changing. The growing Muslim community needs more places to worship and connect.
Since some of these churches are on decline and people are not going to them as much, they're now turning into mosques.
In recent years.
Look, and they've not even changed the architecture. So this is actually cultural preservation here. And Islam doesn't forbid cultural preservation. So if you love this sort of medieval knight sort of style, right? Like you see in maybe some movies like Robin Hood or something, right? So this is like Robin Hood style still, right? It's still medieval European style. Like, look, there's even cultural preservation being done here.
They're now turning into
Allahu Akbar
mosques.
In recent years, Islam has emerged as the fastest growing religion in the region. According to the 2021 census conducted by the ONS, 3.9 million, or 6% of people residing in the United Kingdom were Muslims. London having the greatest proportion, with 15% of the Muslims living there.
Allahu Akbar.
What really leaves the Western world scratching their heads is, despite all their endless propaganda, the Muslim population in the UK has grown by over 1 million in just a decade. Now, with that growth comes the need for more mosques.
Of course.
And that's exactly why the Zamir Foundation stepped in. They bought this grade 2 listed church to give the Muslim community in Hanley a place to worship. But that's not all.
Alhamdulillah.
They plan to add a gym and a museum for everyone in the area, Muslim or not.
Look,
how's that for community spirit? Now, the Church of England has been selling off old churches left and right, turning them into everything from nightclubs to shopping centers. But when a mosque was in the picture, suddenly they dug up a legal loophole from 2009 that prevents other religions from using the building as a place of worship. Talk about double standards, right? The Zamir Foundation was already getting the project underway, moving in heavy machinery and starting the transformation. They were even installing washing facilities and partitions to create space for men and women to pray separately. Everything was going smoothly until the council got involved, stepping in to halt the work after the church threw a wrench in the process. The charity had praised the council's planning permission as a positive step towards community services and fostering inclusivity. But it seems the church had other plans. Now, there's talk of legal action, but for what? And let's not forget, the Church of England didn't bat an eye when the same premises were sold to be turned into a restaurant before that fell through.
Oh, restaurant too. So we have cinema, we have nightclub, we have restaurant. Is it soon like maybe a hair salon, right? Maybe, I don't know. What else could it become? Okay, maybe a factory for some company. No, but like seriously, why do they even care at this point, right? Because what is a greater sin in their eyes? To still worship God, but in another way? Or to actually do a lot of like haram stuff, like sinful stuff there? It makes no sense. Like, as a Christian, you should be happy if this at least is still a place of worship, even if it's in a different way, right?
Turned into a restaurant before that fell through. Funny how they're only worried now that Muslims want to use it for actual worship. So the question is the Church of England going to keep standing in the way, or will they finally help bring the community together? After all, if they're okay with turning churches into nightclubs and shopping centers, why not let the building be used for something that benefits the people?
Yeah.
Let's see how this unfolds.
Museum, gym, all that, that's good. Yo, and there's even cultural preservation. Like I said, it's this medieval sort of Robin Hood sort of style, right? Or like the knight style, like King Arthur or something, right? Like, seriously, like they did like change the whole architecture. So it is cultural preservation even. But if you look at, for example, the cinema, right, you already see some changes being done to the building, right? So it looks less like actual cultural preservation. So when I looked at the masjid, that was a church. It looked more still like a church in comparison to the cinema. That is what I saw. But yeah, I want to ask the Christians or atheists here something, but mostly the Christians. So how do you actually feel about a church becoming a mosque? Do you rather have an old church become a nightclub where people are dancing, doing substance abuse, fornication, all that? Or would you rather have the church become a mosque? Let me know in the comment section how you feel about this. Because this is actually shocking that Christianity always goes against Muslims instead of fixing the root of the problem here. What I've said earlier, that the more liberal you become in a religion, the more emotion instead of devotion you become as a worshipper, the more likely it is that you're unstable and you lack actually the education in your belief, right? Because you're always playing games, you come to do hobbies and activities at the church, but you're learning nothing there, right? Like I said, it's just like a youth club now, where like teenagers come to maybe play some table tennis or something, right? Or watch movies, movie evenings. If you always have movie evenings in churches for the teenagers, you always go on bicycle tours, you go camping, or you're singing songs, you're not learning much about Christianity, and you're also not being taught the values and morals and all that Christianity brings. And then when you grow up, you're very far from your religion, and the next generation will not maintain the church. They're looking for other places of fun. Or they will just hang out in youth clubs a couple of years later when they're a bit older. Like, that is the thing. Like, churches, they need to become more orthodox again, more strict in the Christianity. Because the more liberal, the more open-minded, the less religion remains. And the less eagerness and drive to actually maintain such places remains, right? Like, our world is suffering from a lot of mental health problems, a lot of identity problems. I would even go as far as to say that year 2024 is the year of identity crisis, because people are confused about what gender they are, what nationality they are, if they should become a robot. Some people believe that they're animals even. You have like a lizard guy that turns himself into a lizard. You can look this up online. Like, this is the year of mass confusion. People don't know about their gender, religion, this and that anymore. Like, we don't need division or religions fighting against each other. We need to see how we can make people more religious instead. How we can get the values and morals back. Like, even the age of mothers is crazy. And I see sometimes 15, 16 years old people here, and they have like children out of marriage. And I'm just wondering, if they come from a Christian family, how did they allow their 15-year-old daughter to get pregnant? Like, shouldn't they teach them better? Like, what was this person doing in church? Like, I'm sorry. Or if I see a 14-year-old boy at the bench of the park being taken away by an ambulance because he did drink too much. Like, how can a 14-year-old have such situation as a Christian boy with 14 being on the bench and the ambulance has to take him away? His parents go to church on Sunday. Like, what is happening with the families? I'm very confused. Like, can you fix your religion first before you come at mine? Like, please, Clean your house up first. Like, seriously. But yeah, that is my suggestion, advice for Christians and those Islamophobe channels. Fix your problems first before you go at others, because you have a disease that you need to cure. You need to take that pill for a longer time, seriously. And when you are cured, then we can have a debate, okay? But yeah, guys, if you are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. If this video was informative, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. And I will see you guys next time, inshallah.